I believe that I have worked for companies that work in the former, which is in the leisure sector. For me, personally, motorcycle or motorcycle riding is never about miles per hour, it's always about smiles per hour. And there's this, thank you, there's this often repeated thing, and it's like a motorcyclist credo where people say, 4 wheels move the body and 2 wheels move the soul. And again, something that I agree with wholeheartedly. The fun, the thrill that you have when you are on a motorcycle is completely different. But hey, I'm not here to talk about my motorcycling time. I'm here to talk about something which I have found to be very relevant in my journey from an armed forces family to an engineering school. I'm an engineer like most of you are training to be. That journey took me to London as well, where the family still lives. And there is one constant that has been throughout with me. And when the theme of this talk was explained to me, I said there's nothing closer to heart, and I would want to share a few experiences from there. What is this subject? What is that one word which has been a constant? That one word is doubt. Doubt has always plagued all of us, and it will continue to do so. Now, what do we do with doubt is important. And I'm here to talk about a concept that I have used every time in my life, and that concept is doubt is a fuel for success. So every time somebody doubts you, they provide you fuel for success. I'm sure all of you at various points of time have doubted yourself, or others have doubted you. Now, in doubt, we find the determination to succeed. Now let's talk a little bit more specific about this. Most of you have heard of Classic Legends. That's the company that I head, and about Java motorcycles. When we were wanting to relaunch Java motorcycles, there was a lot of doubt. People were doubting us in terms of our timeline. People were doubting us in terms of the cost that we had set up for ourselves. Now, what that did was it made us re-examine what we were doing, re-examine the pillars that we had put up for our projects, and see whether we were actually doing or delivering what we had intended to do. From a timeline perspective, people were telling to us, you're intending to do something in 2 years' time, which an established manufacturer takes 4 years' time. And we just turned around and we said, look, can we redefine our work processes? Can we do something that nobody else does? Because we are wanting an end result which is different. So what was that doubt doing? That doubt was fueling us to do better. That doubt was asking us to channelize our energies very differently. That is what we want to talk about. So what did we do different? We came up with alternate ways of working. We came up with alternatives where we were doing things concurrently rather than sequentially. We looked at various processes and said, okay, how can we be different? And that is what it did for us. That is where the power of doubt came into our being. Then, of course, came the questions from our own community, the community of old Java riders. Are you going to do justice to that old Java motorcycle that has been around for donkey's years? And again, that gave us the self-belief that no, we have to do it in a way whereby we do justice, we pay homage to an old brand, we keep that brand alive, up and kicking. That is where we are today. There were people who asked us in terms of what is it that you're going to do to promote the brand? And when we were saying to them, look, we're going to do only this much. So again, doubt created that platform for us whereby we could go forward with developing and doing the things that we are doing today. there's a couple of more things that I would want to talk about. It's not only about the doubt, but doubt that creates an attitude. Now, whenever somebody is doubting you, there are two things that you can do. One is get burdened under the doubt, or strengthen yourself with that doubt. And attitudes to you youngsters are very, very important. See, skills, knowledge will take you to a certain distance in your careers, but please understand, attitude will get you there. And I was talking to a few just outside and explaining. There are numerous examples. I can talk about Virat Kohli, for example. His skills may not be as many or as great as Sachin Tendulkar, but his attitude is absolutely top notch, and that is what gets him to be the phenomenal success that he is. And you will see this in various walks of life. And excuse me, attitude is something which is prime. Don't let doubt clutter your attitude. My message to all of you is only going to be doubt. Don't get bogged down with it. Use it as a fuel. And if there are many more examples of this in real world, in real life, you can just go on, and I can talk about Java, but hey, I'm going to go out into this world in the next few years. So whatever doubt you have today, find answers to that. It's not an easy journey. Not an easy journey at all. I've lived with doubt all my life. It's never an easy journey, but tell me one thing, and coming from an armed forces family background, when you get a call to serve the country, does that soldier not have doubt? Does his family not have doubt? Does her family not have doubt? They do have that doubt. They have the doubt that whether they would be seeing their loved ones again. But if they let that doubt bog them down, you wouldn't find the stories that you find about heroic valor. You wouldn't have people giving it all or laying down their lives for this great nation of ours. And that is where they again use doubt as a fuel for their success. They believe because they doubt, and they doubt because they believe. That is the concept here. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm not going to take too much of your time, but believe in yourselves. Doubt yourselves. It's good. It's good to feed off the doubt. But believe me, you will be better off if you answered those doubts today and created an attitude whereby fearlessness is what you create. Because beyond the doubt and beyond the belief is fearlessness. And if you're fearless, you can almost achieve anything. Because the first thing starts with you saying, but I can't do this. There is doubt. Then you question why you can't do this. There is belief. And then there is all the real world.
Sir, as mentioned throughout the ups and downs of your life, doubt was a constant significant. I would like to ask, in your life, which was the turning point when you had to defeat the monster of the doubt and succeed to the point you are today?
All right. So I think I'm going to come down to an age where I was your age. Or just prior to that, I think 17 or 18 years old, when all I wanted to be in my life was a mechanical engineer. Having grown up in the armed forces family with jeeps and motorcycles and stuff, I wasn't good enough to qualify for a seat in mechanical engineering. That was the biggest challenge a 17, 18-year-old could face at that time. You wanted to be an engineer, and that too, automotive mechanical engineer all your life, and you didn't get through. That was the time, and my mom is a fearsome armed forces woman, lady, wife of an army officer, and she said to me, "Get your act sorted, son. You want to be an engineer, be an engineer. Mechanical engineer or electrical engineering that you've got through, just go ahead and do it." Those words rang true in my ears when years later I figured that what was I doing? I was working like a mechanical engineer even though I had trained as an electrical engineer. But that was the first moment where there was a big doubt, because the career that you wanted was no longer available to you because you didn't have the marks or grades to qualify for one. So that was the doubt, but it was again a mother's words which rang true that day, and I just took up electrical engineering and went on from there.
That you have a team of 40 to 45 people, so how to meet the right people? Any tips on that? Any tips on that? How to meet the right people?
All right, one of my key points in coming to institutions like this is to do just that. You guys are the future. If we don't understand you just now, how are we going to understand you when you come and work for us? So this is sort of one of those outreaches. But having said that, there are many ways. See, and as I stressed in my talk as well, attitude is key. So when we meet you, we don't evaluate you for the grades that you have. Sadly, we will look at the grades. You have to have a minimum, but we are not going to evaluate you based on the grades or on the knowledge or the skill that you have. We will rate you on the attitude. And attitude is very simple. It's the way you walk in. It's the way you conduct yourself. It's the way you present and talk. It's the way when faced with a tough question, how do you react to that? Recently I was interviewing somebody, and on being asked a very simple question, having claimed that they knew a lot about the industry, having been asked a simple question, they said, I can't answer that. And I said to them at that very point that if you can't answer that, then I'm afraid we can't have this conversation any further. Purely because this was an attitude. Somebody wouldn't even want to take a crack at something if they didn't have 100% information. Now that is attitude. Somebody who's fearless, again referring back to the talk, somebody who's fearless will make an attempt. There are no rights and wrongs most of the time. You can at least take an attempt, and that is where attitude comes in. So attitude is a big one for us.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, you started your speech with saying that you started working for a struggling company instead of going into an FMCG. So why was that?
See, it was very simple for me. Coming from a passion for motorcycles and motorcycling, if I didn't put my money where my mouth was, it was just all talk. So it was kind of, again, I can use a cliche saying walk the talk. But if you are a motorcyclist and you love motorcycles, why would you not work for a motorcycle company rather than trying and sell FMCG product? So that was the passion.
And the companies which don't succeed are the companies which are taking something from 1 to n. So, when you're making something from 0 to 1, there are these behemoth companies which have, huge finances, state-of-the-art tech, and, top-of-the-line engineers, and you have the things which you can afford, right, at that phase. So, how do you protect your 0 to 1 from these companies when you don't have the stuffs that they have and you're at a much lower position? How did you do that?
See, the simple answer again, and this is exactly why startups succeed. Startups have agility. Startups have that entrepreneurial zeal. Now, what does entrepreneurial zeal mean? Now, you look at a large organization. For them to make a decision about a meeting or about how many people should attend will take them 3 days, or maybe 2 days, or maybe 2 hours. In a startup, that decision is made in 5 minutes. You would be aware, corporates, when they are planning an event, they spend hours looking at the menu. What is the alcohol that they will be serving? Now leave that decision to an entrepreneur or to a startup, to a new company. They'll make that decision in 5 minutes. 1 will be, this is all I can afford. 2 will be, these are the only people that we can call. And 3 will be, let's just go ahead and do it, any which ways. So that is the ability to make decisions very quickly is paramount. The other thing is, most big organizations have to cater for a very large number of people. So their policies, their programs are more large people oriented. When you look at a startup, you can't bog a startup down with the same bureaucracy. The startup has to be very, very quick, flat, no hierarchy, make decisions quickly, and that is what sets them apart. And that is the key, how you protect yourself from the big guys. See, the big guys have an ego. And guys, believe me, corporate ego is huge. So they don't even believe that a small upstart or a startup can actually be a threat to them. And by the time they realize that there is a threat, the startup is already up there and present and to a certain scale. Look at people like WhatsApp, for example, or look at people like Instagram, for example. And I'm giving you very generic examples because all of you can understand them. They came from nowhere and became these multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. Facebook has earned so much more money than anybody can imagine. Or look at Amazon, for example. Jeff Bezos sitting in the 90s selling out books by himself to becoming the world's largest retailer. There's a power of doubt story right there.